Lilac was an abused 14-year-old who was adopted by a person named the Handler. The Handler was the leader of the Commission. The Commission was an organization built to keep the timelines in order. The Handler killed Lilac's parents and took her. Let the story begin. Lilac was called into her mother's office after her mission. The Handler looked at Lilac, her expression stern. "Finally, you are back." Her mother, the Handler, said, "Yeah, it was." Lilac said, a hint of nervousness in her voice before she was cut off by the Handler. "Darling, darling, no need for details," she said slowly before speaking again. "I have another mission for you." She said, her expression softening not enough to see. "Oh, another? What is it?" she said, a hint of annoyance replacing the nervousness. The Handler scoffed at Lilac's annoyance. "Be grateful I even adopted you. The least you can do is help your mother out," the Handler said, raising her voice in anger. "Fine, I will do your stupid job for me," she said, now fully annoyed with her mother. "Good girl. Sit now." Lilac sat down in the chair in front of her mother's desk. "I need you to kill Max, right?" her mother said, her expression stern again. Lilac's eyes widened in shock. Why was her mother wanting her to kill the most dangerous assassin? Did her mother want her to die? She thought. "The Max, right?" Lilac said, her voice filled with shock. Yes, the Max, right," her mother said to her, slightly annoyed. "Is there something wrong with that?" her mother said, her voice stern and annoyed. "Fine, I'll do it in the morning," Lilac said, her voice annoyed and shocked. The next morning, Lilac is getting ready for her mission. She walked out of her room and grabbed the briefcase so she could teleport to his timeline. She teleported to Max's timeline and ended up on his house with his siblings. "Well, where am I?" Lilac looked around and saw him. "Max, right? You." He looked at her, his brown hair and blue eyes piercing into her soul. His jawline was almost perfect. Who else would it be? The famous Max, right? "I'm guessing you are here to kill me," he said, his voice stern but filled with mockery. "Why, I am here to kill you," Lilac said, clearly nervous as he scoffed. "Kill me? Impossible. Remember, I can teleport and time travel, so you are out of luck." She widened her eyes at him as she remembered he had powers, and she knew she was out of luck. "I have a chance, don't underestimate me," she said, her stuttering getting worse. "Stop stuttering, it makes you seem nervous," he said with a scoff. "What if I am nervous?" she said, her voice trying to seem not nervous. "Let's get this over with," he said, getting ready to fight until his sibling, Lily, interrupted. "Who are you?" she said, mad and curious. Max looked at his sister, annoyed. "She works at the Commission, remember them?" Lily seemed to remember. Lilac tried to speak, but Max interrupted as he glanced at her. "Don't speak, just let's fight." Lilac sighed and pulled out her knife, but she dropped it. She tried to catch the knife, but it cut her hand badly. Max scoffed. "Seriously, you can't even hold a knife?" Lilac glared at him, but stayed focused on her bleeding hand. "I'll be back to kill you soon," she said, trying to sound mad, but she was just in pain. She ran away to avoid getting killed. She arrived at her temporary apartment that the Commission gave her for her mission. She scoffed, clearly annoyed at how she chickened out. "Why did I leave? I would have been fine." She started tending to her wound. "It isn't that bad. I could have fought him, no problem." She scoffed at herself. "Be humble, you can barely even fight." She wrapped her wound and plopped on her bed. "If I fought him, I would be dead or injured badly." She scoffed again. "I would be dead." She started to think a lot. What if I killed him? She was getting ready for her mission. "What do we have here?" a voice behind her said. She quickly turned around and pointed a knife at the person, not matter who it was, and she saw Max. Why him of all people? She didn't lower the knife. "Why are you here?" Max scoffed. "So I have to be invited to visit my enemy." He smirked. "How rude of you," he said, clearly teasing. "Leave me alone, I'm not ready for a fight." Max scoffed again. "A fight isn't planned, but if you say," he teleported away. A few months later of fighting, she finally finds him in an alleyway, clearly distracted, and puts her hand on his shoulder to jerk him back, but he teleported, taking her with him. She stumbled as they appeared at an empty subway station. "What? Where are we?" He looked at her, annoyed. "I come here to escape my annoying family." She looked around, seeing no escape. "I didn't want to know why you come here. I want to know where is this?" Max scoffed. "We are at a place in a void. It is a subway station." Lilac scoffed. I'm not blind. Max glanced at her. Your glasses say otherwise. Lilac looked at him and smirked, whatever. After a few days in the subway, they end up getting along kind of. I hate you, Max said as he scoffed. No you don't. Max's expression softened. You are right, I don't. They kept going on the train, and they saw a cabin with a greenhouse in one of the rooms. The subway took them as they thought it would be the perfect place to stay. Whoa, Lilac said, her voice filled with surprise. Finally a home. Max scoffed while he said that, a home indeed. Lilac said, still shocked as she ran into the cabin, and Max followed. She looked around the place checking for traps. This is the perfect place to stay. Max looked in the bedroom and saw only one bed. One problem, there is only one bed. She followed him and saw the one bed. I can sleep on the couch. Max looked at her like she was crazy. No, I can sleep on the couch, he said, annoyed. But Max cut her off. No, but just get ready to sleep. He laid down in the couch as she went to sleep on the bed in the bedroom. The next morning she woke up to see Max making breakfast. I didn't know you could cook, she said, tired, as she walked up to him and stood next to him. Well, who else would cook? He continued to make eggs, not even looking at her. I can cook, you know? Max scoffed. Let me do this. She smiled at his annoyance. You really know how to get on my nerves, he said as he finally looked at her, and he was clearly holding back a smile. Look who is holding back a smile, she said, still smiling, and he finally started smiling a little. I've never seen your smile before, she said slowly while looking him in the eyes. Stop looking at me like that, he said, still smiling. They went exploring and they went back in the train hoping to find a way home, but they ended up in Russia. In the time 1985, whoa, where are we? Lilac said, surprised. No clue, Max said, not fazed. They saw a red-haired girl looking around. Lilac went up to her. Hi ma'am, where are we? The lady looked up and smiled. Lilac sighed, not understanding. Ma'am, do you know English? The lady looked surprised but nodded. You are in Russia, sweetheart. Lilac's jaw dropped. Our Russia. Lilac glances at Max, who scoffed and walked up to the lady too. Sorry for her behavior, she can be a little annoying. I'm Max, he said, trying to be friendly, but it just sounding menacing. I'm Kitsu. Kitsu. Lilac smiled. I'm Lilac. When Kitsu saw Max looking into her eyes, his gaze cold, she blushed slightly, barely showing it, but Lilac noticed, but didn't pay attention to it. Mitsa led them to her house to help them for the night. As they walked in, the place was small but not too small. Mitsa gave them a tour, and the last room was an office. Whoa, what is this for? Lilac said, curious. I'm a detective actually for the city. Lilac smiled. That is so cool. Max scoffed. Do you mean lame? Lilac nudges him. Be nice for once in your depressing life. Max scoffed, but couldn't help but glance at Lilac. The next day, Mitsa is showing them some magic tricks. This is so lame, a violence movie is better than this, Max said, his voice cold and rude. Max, come on, it is cool, unlike you. Max scoffed. I am plenty cool. And Lilac rolled her eyes. Nah. Max was getting annoyed. Yes, huh, now shut up and watch the stupid magic tricks like a little kid. A few weeks later, Lilac walks into a room and sees Mitsa confessing her feelings for Max, and Max seemed interested until he said, I like you too, just stop talking so much. Lilac felt a pang of jealousy. How could she feel this way about the enemy? She creeped out the room, trying to not be seen, as she went into Mitsa's office and saw a file. Max's file. She froze, knowing exactly what was happening as she picked up the file and saw all the crimes Max has committed: murder, stealing, and arson. A lot of murder crimes, though. She realized that Mitsa was using him. She left the office with the file in her jacket and hid it in her backpack. A few minutes later, the two came out of the room they were talking in and looked around. Lilac was nowhere to be seen. Max panicked. Lilac, he yelled, letting go of Mitsa's hand as he rushed out the door and went looking through the streets. He saw Lilac in an alleyway and ran up to her. Lilac, what happened? He asked as he saw the cuts on her. I got into a fight. Some guy tried to take me to his house, but I refused and me and him fought. Max was fuming, not even caring about anyone else. Who was it? He yelled, but he tried to calm down as Lilac jumped from his yelling. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell, she said, his tone soft and sweet. I don't know who it was. Max hugged her, which was rare, very rare. He pulled away to look at her, and he brushed a strand of hair out of her face and kissed her. Not for long, though. What was that for? Lilac said, shocked. I'm sorry for that. Lilac looked at him and smiled. Don't be sorry, I should be sorry for trying to kill you. Max scoffed playfully, no more trying to kill each other? Lilac smiled, no more trying to kill each other. A few weeks later, Mitza found out Max cheated on her with Lilac. Max looked up at her while he was sitting on the couch watching a horror film. What? He said, uninterested. Did you cheat on me with Lilac? She said, fuming, and he scoffed. We were never official. She got even more mad. Not official. So that makes it okay to cheat? She said, almost screaming. Yeah, it does, cause it isn't cheating. Max scoffed, not letting her get the best of him. She was about to talk, but someone was banging on the door. Max got up to check, and it was the police. Sir, I need your hands behind your back. You are being arrested for murder. Max scoffed and quickly ran into the room I was in and grabbed my hand, basically dragging me as he teleported away with me, trying to get back in the train, but Kitsu grabbed my arm, causing her to teleport too. On the train, Max caught me as I stumbled, still not used to teleporting, but he let Kitsu fall when she stumbled, not even bothering to help her up. Lilac, are you okay? He said, his voice sweet. Yeah, I'm fine, she said as she smiled at his kindness. As he looked at Kitsu, his expression hardened, and he looked rude and cold again. You're here too? Seriously, it couldn't get any worse. Max looked out his window and saw that they were back in his timeline, and he grabbed Lilac's hand and led her out the train into the train station, and Kitsu followed.